Welcome to another month of doing our expenses with me. I am so glad you're here, and I am thankful for all of you that have reached out and told me that this has been helpful and useful to you. So we're going to work with April's expenses, and I have already started a sheet for April's no spend month. Today I got a lot of teeth work done, and I bought coffee for my babysitters and got a little smoothie so I could eat something. So I did spend some money today. There is $15, but it was worth it to have that peace of mind. So, okay, let's get kind of going here on our income. We're going to do kind of what we've done last week, which is, put all of the total paychecks. We're going to add all those together, and then we're going to put them up here for our income. I have done videos on this, and I'm going to leave the playlist link down below if this is your first time. So you can check out and see what we're doing here. So the first thing I'll need to do is pull out my calculator. I'm just using my phone. And I'm going to calculate my husband's paychecks. Question that I've gotten is, what does my husband do? Right now my husband is in seminary schools to become a pastor, so he is working part-time. On top of that, he works at Ace Hardware as one of the lumbermen. So lots of strenuous work. He's not a young man anymore, in the sense that by today's standards he is past 50s, so it's it's fulfilling a dream of his, but also a calling. If you know anything about being a pastor, you know that it's not something to be taken lightly or anything like that. It truly is a calling, and so he's just working towards that. And we're here as a family of 5 kids, homeschooling in beautiful Indiana. And we're just learning how to make this work one day at a time. So with being part-time, I do look for other ways to supplement our income. It just is very helpful for us in this season. Sorry, I smelled something. Some of the part-time work that I do is I write curriculum for a family that I just basically write out the curriculum for it. So each week I say, okay, for history, this is what you need to do. For science, this is what you need to do. I need this turned in, and I need you to complete these. And I work on that every week, just kind of basing it what he has done and what we need to work on. And then I send them the, what we call them homeschool packets is what we do. So it's like the packets that you get from school, but you do it all at home. And so I research what science would work well for the family, what math and history and all of that stuff. And then I just email it every week. So I do that on a weekly basis, and I get paid for that. I homeschool 2 kids, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and oftentimes another day in there somewhere for a single mom. And so anytime you see $45, it's because I've been paid for that. Online work. This is going to be another thing that you see. This is my virtual assistant job. And other things that come up will be Amazon affiliate links. If I get paid for that, then that goes in. But the online work will be a virtual assistant job that I have recently took on. Other things that sometimes show up are like YouTube revenue, and I put that down. Just honestly, anything that I can do and work, I just say yes, I will do it, and I just start doing that. I did make a video. Did I mention I'm a mom of 5? There's always going to be interruptions here. I apologize. But I did make a video on all of the things that I have done or doing to earn money, and it's in that playlist that is linked down below for you. Okay, so let's, without further ado, get on what this paycheck is. So I'm going to start with my husband's. Last week I said that I was not doing this because I was waiting for our 5th paycheck this month. We have 5 paychecks for March. And remember, the way that I budget is we take March's paychecks and use it to pay April's bills. And that just kind of keeps us ahead of the game. So that if something randomly comes up, like you're going to see here in a minute, that we are prepared for that. Now, last week I said that I was waiting for the 5th paycheck. However, I went over the calendar and realized that this wasn't the best use for our money. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that 5th paycheck, because my husband had to go to a pastor's conference, and so that means he is not working for 3 days this week. And so we just decided to move that paycheck to April. So the last paycheck of March, we're moving it to April. Another thing that you might see that is different will be these numbers here. This is just because I couldn't find my blue pen. So there's nothing significant about this color. It's just my kids, they take my pens. But these numbers here, this is our gross income, and then this is our net income. So this is before taxes, and then this is after taxes. So my husband noticed that we were not tithing on the gross income, and he asked me to fix that. So now I have this over here, and that'll be what we figure out with tithing. And then this is the net that we will use for budgeting. So I'm going to add this up here, and then I'm going to add this up separately. So that's what the first thing I'm going to do is, and I'll just see you here in a second. Now, as you can see, I have already made 2 lines for the net and gross. So the net is, and then the gross is, and then our gross is that 1834. Okay, now let's add my income up. You guys, I'm OCD enough that really bothers me. I will find 26 cents around the house and make this easier on myself. Okay, so now then I'm going to add these 2 numbers together. Now my goal has always been to try to live off of $2,000 a month, and it's going to be a tight one this month. So let's see what we've got here. Okay, now we're going to tithe off of this. And again,
I'm gonna go ride my scooter up the street.
did anybody just catch what I messed up and did? Plus, I did that, but I forgot to tithe off of this. So let me just, it's pretty simple. You know, 10% of 400 is 40. Oh my. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to subtract these numbers from this. Now let's move on to these are non-negotiable bills. And actually I do have a couple other ones. I think I have already talked about this, but my sister is no longer going to send us money every month. So I need to make sure that this is planned for. However, I will let you know that we have already decided to use the stimulus money to continue piano lessons for our children. And we'll just continue on that way with it. So just letting you know. It is non-negotiable, but it is down here because it'll be the first thing that, you know, if things get tight, we cut. These you can't necessarily cut. This is always the same. And then the insurance here, this includes our cars and our home. Okay, and then for property tax, we have a sinking fund going for that. So I am putting $135 aside for property tax, and I will add $135 to this total. And then the income tax is what I am putting aside from what I've earned so that we're just prepared if when they start taxing me for the work that I'm doing. And I would just prefer to, you know, be safe than sorry. If this means that we don't need anything, then thankfully the money is there and we can use it for something else. However, if you are, I'm going to be taxed on it, I'm prepared and have the money set aside for that. So from my calculations, for every $500 you earn, because I am self-employed, it's better to put aside $100. Now, if they are to start taxing us, there's definitely some things that we can use as tax write-off, like my internet. Without internet, I can't do work. Even square footage of where my office is can be tax deductible. Electricity is tax deductible when you have like your own business. So all of these things I'm keeping track of. I have my own little folder with all of this, and so it just prepares me. Now, obviously I didn't make $500 this month. I only made $400, so I'm just gonna put that aside for taxes. So now the next step is to add all of these numbers up. Now I'm going to subtract that from what we have left up here. So I just have a little note here of what it is. It makes this messy. It doesn't make this clean, but I hate wasting like Post-it notes when I could just write it in here and have a little messy paper, whatever. So I'll just do that and make it look a little bit more like, okay, you've got this much for that. So obviously we have a problem because piano lessons is $50 a week, but it's not coming out of this, so I'm not going to be worried. I'm just going to put savings in here so that I know that I'm pulling it from that. And our groceries, we've been trying to keep it at $600. That leaves $116. Now, my husband only needs about $40 for gas this month. He doesn't have school this week, so we won't be using any gas. And he just filled up. So he says he's only going to need about $40 this month. And then for us, I've been averaging about $20 a week. And so that's $120. So honestly, there is enough in checking that I am going to budget $120, even though we only have $116. And I'm going to say -4 from checking to cover our expenses this week. Now, that means that I can't give my husband anything for our trip. However, we have been saving, and he right now has $160. Oh, look at that. I have $21.40 left over. Don't worry. We already used that this month for having to go to the consignment store and whatnot, so there isn't anything. But I am cashing out, I did cash out, and he has $160 for this trip. Whatever is not used, we're actually going to put it back into this fund that we're trying to build up, and it is for a trip that we will be taking in July. Now, one other thing, since my sister is no longer sending money, we have 2 children that we sponsor from Compassionate Ministries. And that is every month. So that means that I need to make sure that we are taking that also out from savings in order to make sure that it is met. So honestly, I'm going to put this in a different color pen. I'm going to do green, even though we're negative, it should be like a red. But, so this means that we have a -$4 from checking, and let's see, 276 from savings to cover extra expenses. If we did not have savings, it means that we would need to stop piano and stop sponsoring kids. You know, that's just the reality of it. But you know, we do have a savings, and with our economic stimulus, we will be using that to kind of cover everything that isn't met right now. And if it continues this way, we will have to reassess. But honestly, this is why we have a savings. This is why when we get tax returns and stimulus, it's just, we don't do a whole lot. We put it in there. Tax return, or actually I should say mainly with tax return. With stimulus, I've already kind of talked about my thoughts on that and my concerns, so I won't go over that anymore. So here is, you know, to another month. You will notice that I actually do have another job that I didn't put down, and that is because as of right now, we have not figured out what I have earned, and it's just going to go into the next month. I had less babysitting this month, so that kind of took a hit on finances, and I didn't have as much work, and it's starting to, yeah, I'm starting to feel that pressure of, okay, you know, my sister's not contributing, and this is not something that she's just said, okay, I'm pulling out. Like, this is wonderful of her to really help us in this way, and it was more my husband and I thinking that we should try to get back on our own 2 feet and let her kind of save that money for her goals and ideas for her family and whatnot. Summer's coming, which means I'm not going to have that $225 that I typically get every month with the kid that I teach, and I will not be being paid for babysitting. However, my husband will be back to working full time, so we'll have a little bit more of a cushion then, and so that really helps. And maybe, like, I'm kind of thinking more in the summer, it will be our bigger, like, homeschool year, just because I think certain things will just have settled down and kind of running smoothly. So kind of looking forward to seeing how that schedule works out. And I think at this point, I'm just kind of rambling, so I'm going to leave it here for today. Thank you so much for joining me again on this. And I appreciate so much the comments you guys have been sending to me on Instagram or down below, or even emailing me, just saying how much this has inspired you and had you to look at your finances a little bit differently. I am not an expert. There are so many wonderful channels out there. So I genuinely take these words that you have said and take them to heart and really ponder and reflect on them, especially because I kind of keep things simple. I don't have like budget planners and I don't have elaborate systems set up. I just need something basic and simple for our family. As you can see, I'm a busy mom and I don't want too many things kind of going in all the directions. So we're going to leave it here. I'm going to let you all get back to your family and life. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week for another Money Management Monday. Some of the videos that I have coming up are showing what to do when a need comes up during a no-spend time, and do you really need it? And what happens when the no-spend time ends, whether it's a month, a week, a day, okay, maybe not a day, but whatever. Like, how do we go forward and be great stewards of this, and how do we keep that focus in mind? So that video is going to be next Monday, and I hope you will subscribe if you're not, so that you can check that out when it comes out. And I will see you in the next video, whatever that is that you watch. And until next time, have a blessed and wonderful day. Bye.